Imagine you're watching the news and a wild story drops. Patriots with perfect uniforms stormed a government building. Nobody knows why the Patriots stormed the government building, but conveniently, new surveillance laws passed the very next day. Guys, that's a magic trick, and the trick has a name. It's called a false flag. A false flag is when people in power cause chaos or pretend chaos happened, then point at an enemy and say, see, that's why we need more control. It is not about the safety of the citizens. It's always about political leverage. Where do false flags come from? The term goes back to literal pirates. They'd sail under a fake flag, get close to a target ship, then switch to the skull and crossbones right before opening fire. Modern governments do the same thing, just with fewer parrots, which is just not as fun, okay? False flags are about disguise, making one group look guilty so another group can gain power. And history is full of these events. Here are a few historical examples of false flags. The Reichstag Fire in 1933. Germany's parliament building mysteriously burns down. Hitler blamed communists, declared an emergency, and surprise, used it to grab absolute power. It's the political version of the dog ate my homework, so now I own the dog, the school, and the country. Thanks, guys. Operation Northwoods in 1962. The U.S. military literally drafted a plan to bomb American citizens and blame Cuba. Yes, you heard that right. Attack ourselves, kill Americans, justify war. Kennedy said no, but the fact it was even proposed tells you everything you need to know. Then there's the Gulf of Tonkin incident in 1964. The event that launched the Vietnam War, it turns out it didn't actually happen. The U.S. claimed North Vietnamese boats attacked American ships. Later, oops, made it up. But 58,000 American soldiers still died for it. False flags don't need to be true. They just need to be useful and believable in the social and geopolitical context of the time. Fast forward. Governments and groups still run the same false flag playbooks. The costumes are just updated now. Even evil aristocrats cannot escape the need to get dripped out every once in a while. I'm just saying, bro, you gotta, shit, be fly. Look, you'll notice a pattern between these events. Number one, something shocking happens. It's a terror attack, a mass shooting, or a cyber breach. Number two, the narrative forms instantly. The villain is named before the smoke clears. Now, does that sound familiar with recent events? Come on, class, raise your hands. Number three, the solution appears suspiciously fast. That's why we need new surveillance powers, or that's why we're invading Mexico or Venezuela or Cuba or Haiti or Peru or Chile. I'm just saying America is very busy. As far as modern examples go, let's talk about Moscow's apartment bombings in 1999. Explosions killed hundreds in Russia. The government blamed Chechen rebels. Conveniently, right before launching a war in Chechnya. But later, evidence tied the attacks to Russian security services themselves. Translation? Putin bombed his own people, blamed an enemy, and got the war he wanted. Now let's talk about the Syria chemical attacks that took place between 2013 and 2018. International experts are still divided on who carried them out, but each time they lined up neatly with pushes for foreign intervention. Whether real or staged, they worked as leverage. The modern false flag isn't always about blowing things up. It can be digital. It can be a hacked server, a leaked email, a bot army. The disguise is kind of the point. So, how can you tell when you're being played by a false flag? Here is your guide. Number one, the villain is named instantly. If within 30 minutes the government already knows exactly who's guilty, that's fishy. Investigations take time, propaganda doesn't. Number two, the story shifts. First, it was a bomb, then it wasn't, then it was two shooters, then one. If the official narrative changes like a bad improv skit, pay attention. And then three, the solution was ready before the problem. If a new law, war, or crackdown appears overnight like it was already drafted, it probably was. And then there's number four, the evidence being too neat. Perfectly placed ID cards, manifestos uploaded the same day, attackers in matching gear. Real life is messy. False flags are staged. And then there's number five, questioning it makes you the enemy. If asking basic questions gets you labeled unpatriotic, then that is very clearly a cover-up. False flags aren't ancient history. They're an ongoing operating system, and we are now living in fascist America. So every time we fall for one, power shifts upward. More surveillance, more censorship, more wars we didn't ask for. And even when they get exposed, 9/11, it doesn't undo the damage. Nobody gave Vietnam back. Nobody unbombed Baghdad. Nobody resurrected the Reichstag. That's why spotting them as they happen is the only defense. So the next time a shocking event floods the headlines, pause, then ask yourself, who benefits from this? Who's selling me the solution? And why do they want me to stop asking questions? Because look, you gotta understand, sometimes the scariest part of a false flag is the fact that everybody is so primed to be brainwashed on any given day. Now, I won't mention any specific events for fear of governmental retribution. But if most of us know 9/11 was an inside job, what other tragedies do you think have been staged? Let me know in the comments. This has been the Adonis Black Show. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp. This is how we continue to cut through the noise. See you next video.